I'm 78 years young, and let me tell you, life has taught me a thing or two. But there's one choice I made that still stings, and I want to share it with you. When I decided to move into a retirement home, it seemed like the perfect plan. My kids were all for it, promising me top-notch care and a stress-free life. I bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. But the moment I settled in, I realized the reality was far from the glossy brochure. If you're thinking about this move for yourself, or someone you love, you might be convinced it's the safest bet or the easiest way to simplify life. But before you sign on the dotted line, I'm going to share 5 hard truths I wish someone had told me. Trust me, life in a retirement home isn't just about kicking back, it changes everything. And once you're in, getting out isn't as simple as you'd hope. Stick with me to the end, because some of these lessons might catch you off guard. If you know someone considering this step, this could be the wake-up call they need. Let's dive in. Back in my own house, I was the one calling the shots. I'd wake up when I darn well pleased, maybe 6:30 to catch the sunrise with a strong cup of coffee, or 9 if I felt like sleeping in after a late-night Western flick. I'd throw together a sandwich for lunch, maybe head out to the backyard to tinker with my bird feeders, or take a stroll to the corner store for a chat with the cashier. My days had a rhythm, a flow that was all mine, whether I was flipping through a dog-eared paperback or rearranging my old vinyl records just for the heck of it. But the moment I moved into the retirement home, that freedom vanished like smoke in the wind. Everything ran on their clock. Breakfast at 7 a.m. sharp, whether my stomach was growling or not. Lights out at 10 p.m., even if I was in the middle of a good book. Want to step outside for some fresh air? Gotta wait for a staff member to give you the okay, and sometimes you're stuck sitting there staring at the walls until they've got a free minute. Even the little stuff like picking out a flannel shirt or deciding to have soup instead of salad started feeling like I was asking for a favor. I'll never forget my first week, waking up in a bed that felt like it belonged to a stranger. I reached for my old radio, the one I'd fiddle with while listening to classic rock, only to realize it was packed away in some box back home. The room was bare, the air smelled like disinfectant, and I felt like I'd wandered into someone else's story. It's not just the big things that slip away. It's the tiny moments you don't even notice until they're gone. Like choosing to stay up late with a bowl of popcorn, or moving your armchair to catch the afternoon sun. Those choices are what make you you. When they're gone, you start to fade. I met a woman, Betty, who'd been there 6 months. She used to knit blankets for her grandkids, her fingers always moving, her eyes bright with purpose. Now, she just sat in the lounge, staring at the TV, her hands still, her spark dimmed. She told me, "I don't feel like myself anymore." That hit me hard because I was starting to feel it too. You nod along, eat what's served, follow their rules, but every time you do, a piece of your soul slips away. If you're thinking about a retirement home, take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask, are you ready to hand over the keys to your days? The freedom to decide when to eat, what to wear, or even when to turn off the dang light. Because once those are gone, you'll miss them more than you ever thought possible. You'll feel that ache deep in your chest, the kind that comes from losing the life you built, piece by piece. This one's a tough pill to swallow, and it creeps up on you like a shadow. When I moved in, my family swore they'd be there all the time. My son David promised he'd swing by every Sunday with his kids, maybe bring some of that homemade chili he knows I love. My grandkids said they'd stop by after school, tell me about their basketball games or their latest TikTok obsession. For a while, they kept their word. David would show up, we'd sit in the lounge, laugh about the time we got stuck in a rainstorm on a camping trip. The kids would sprawl on the floor, showing me pictures on their phones, making me feel like I was still part of their world. But life has a way of pulling people away. A few months in, David's visits went from every week to every other week. Then just a quick phone call to check in. The grandkids got caught up with homework, part-time jobs, teenage drama. Holidays were the worst. Everyone would promise to come for Christmas or Easter. But then something always came up. A work deadline, a school play, a last-minute trip. I'd sit in the common room, watching the door, seeing other folks do the same. all of us hoping for a familiar face to light up the day. It's not that my family stopped loving me, I know they do. But when you're not in their daily lives, not at the dinner table or the backyard barbecue, it's easy for them to think you're fine, that you've settled in, that you don't need them as much. One night, I was in my room, staring at my phone, David's number glowing on the screen. I wanted to call, to say, "Hey, I'm still here, I miss you guys." But I didn't want to be that guy, the one who guilts his kids into visiting. So I put the phone down, and that's when it sank in. My life had become a waiting game, waiting for a call, a visit, a moment to feel like I still belonged. I saw it in others too. My buddy Frank, who used to own a diner, would talk about how his daughter called every week like clockwork. Now, maybe once a month, if he was lucky. He'd shrug, say, "She's got her own life, you know." But you could see the hurt in his eyes, the way he'd glance at the door every time it opened. If you're thinking about a retirement home, ask yourself, are you ready for the quiet sting of being left behind? Because no matter how much your family loves you, being out of sight can feel like being erased. If you're still with me, drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Moving to a retirement home didn't just change where I lived, it changed why I bothered getting out of bed. Back home, I had things that kept me grounded. I'd spend mornings pruning my rose bushes, afternoons fixing a loose cabinet hinge, or evenings sketching out ideas for a short story I was working on. Those little rituals weren't just tasks, they were my reason to keep going, my way of leaving a mark on the day. But in the retirement home, all that disappeared like it was never there. Someone else tended the garden, someone else fixed the leaks, someone else cooked dinner. At first I thought, heck, no chores? I'm living the dream. But a couple of weeks in, I felt this hole growing inside me. Days stretched on, long and empty, with nothing to fill them. I'd sit by the window, watching cars pass by, wondering what the heck I was supposed to do with myself. I saw it in others, too. There was this guy, Walter, 80 years old, who used to be a gardener. Back home, he'd spend hours planting vegetables, talking about his prize-winning tomatoes with this big, proud grin. In the home, he had no dirt to dig, no seeds to plant, just a plastic chair and a view of a parking lot. I watched him go from a man with stories to tell to someone who barely spoke, his hands folded in his lap, restless and empty. One day, he looked at me and said, "I feel like I'm just waiting to disappear." That hit me like a punch to the gut, because I was feeling it too. When you lose the things that give your days meaning, life starts to feel like you're stuck in slow motion. Your mind gets foggy, your spirit dims, and before you know it, you're just another face in the crowd, blending into the hum of the routine. I tried picking up new hobbies, bingo, card games, but they didn't fill the void. I missed the weight of a hammer in my hand, the smell of fresh soil, the satisfaction of crossing something off my to-do list. If you're thinking about a retirement home, take a good, hard look at what keeps your fire burning. Is it your garden? Your woodworking? The little rituals that make your day feel like yours? Because once those are gone, finding new ones isn't as simple as signing up for a craft class. You've got to fight tooth and nail to hold on to what makes you feel alive, or you risk fading into someone you don't recognize. Before I moved into the retirement home, I was holding my own for a guy pushing 80. Sure, I wasn't out running 5Ks, but I could lug a bag of groceries from the car, take a long walk through the neighborhood to watch kids play baseball, or spend an afternoon raking leaves to keep my yard looking sharp. Those everyday tasks, shawling laundry baskets, stirring a pot of chili, even pacing the living room while yakking on the phone kept my joints loose and my muscles strong. They were my way of telling age, not today. But when I settled into the retirement home, that all changed, and it happened so fast it left my head spinning. Everything was done for me. Meals showed up on a tray, so I stopped cooking. If I needed something from across the room, I'd press a button and a staff member would fetch it. No more climbing stairs, no more sweeping the porch. At first, I thought, this is the Lefeno chores. No hassle. But I didn't see the cost until it was staring me in the face. I stopped moving as much, and my body started to give up. My knees got stiffer, like they were rusted over. My balance got shaky, and getting out of a chair turned into a full-on wrestling match. I'd always prided myself on staying active, but within a few months, I felt weaker than I ever had. It wasn't just the it was the way I started to feel frail, like a version of myself I didn't recognize. I saw it happen to others too. My neighbor Ellen was 75 when she moved in, full of spunk, always walking laps around the courtyard, joking that she'd outdance us all at the next community event. She'd say, "Age is just a number, and I'm not slowing down." But a few months later, I noticed she wasn't walking as much. Then she started using a cane, then a walker, and before long, she was in a wheelchair. One afternoon, we were sitting in the lounge, and she looked at me, her eyes tired, and said, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I aged 20 years in a heartbeat." That hit me like a freight train because I was feeling it too. When you stop using your body, it starts to give up on you, and it happens faster than you'd ever believe. In a place built to make life easy, it's so easy to forget that movement isn't just about getting stuff done. It's about keeping your strength, your independence, your life. I started noticing how the staff encouraged us to sit, to rest, to let them handle everything. But all that help made me weaker. I met a guy, Joe, who used to hike trails near his house every weekend. He'd talk about the way the forest air cleared his head, made him feel alive. In the home, he barely left his room, his legs too wobbly to carry him far. One day, he said, "I used to climb hills. Now I can't even climb out of bed without help." It broke my heart because I saw myself in him. If I'd known how fast my body would decline, I'd have fought harder to stay active, taken more walks, done some stretches, anything to keep my strength up. If you're thinking about a retirement home, ask yourself, will you still find the grit to keep your body moving when everything's handed to you on a silver platter? Because once you slow down, getting back up is like trying to climb a mountain with a backpack full of bricks. It's not just about staying strong, it's about holding on to the you that can still stand tall. If you're finding this helpful, drop a 4 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. Your support keeps me going, and I'm grateful for every one of you. When I first signed up for the retirement home, I told myself it was just a trial run. Didn't like it? No big deal. I'd pack my bags, head back to my house, and pick up where I left off. Sounds simple, right? But here's the cold, hard truth. Leaving is a fight you might not have the strength for. My house wasn't mine anymore, not really. My kids had started clearing it out, thinking I wouldn't need my old recliner, my toolbox, or that creaky coffee table I loved. They sold stuff, gave stuff away, even talked about renting the place out to make things easier. When I brought up moving back, they'd get this worried look in their eyes. "Dad, are you sure you can manage on your own?" they'd say. "Isn't it safer here? We just want what's best for you." I could hear the love in their voices, but it felt like a cage closing around me. It wasn't just them, though. After months of living in a place where everything was done for meno cooking, no cleaning, no walking further than the dining hall, my body wasn't what it used to be. I wasn't as strong, wasn't as steady. The thought of going back to managing a house, buying groceries, mowing the lawn, climbing stairs felt like staring down a marathon I hadn't trained for. I started doubting myself, wondering if I could really hack it on my own. That doubt was like a weight, pinning me in place, making me feel stuck in a life I didn't choose. I'd lie awake at night, picturing my old house, the way the sunlight hit the kitchen in the morning. But the idea of getting back there felt like chasing a dream that was slipping further away every day. I saw it in others too. There was a woman, Louise, who moved in thinking she'd just give it a try for a few months. She'd been a librarian, always organizing book clubs, always with a story to tell. But after a year, her apartment was gone, rented out to someone else. Her savings were dwindling, eaten up by the cost of care. She'd shrug and say, "Guess this is home now," but you could see the defeat in her eyes. Another guy, Pete, used to talk about moving back to his cabin by the lake. He'd show me pictures of it, all cozy with a view of the water. But after 2 years in the home, he admitted he didn't have the money or the energy to make it happen. "It's like the world out there moved on without me," he said. That hit me hard, because I felt it too. The longer you stay, the deeper the roots grow, and not in a good way. Your old life, your home, your routines, your independence starts to feel like a memory you can't quite touch. Some folks lose their houses entirely, sold off to cover costs. Others lose the confidence to live alone, their strength sapped by months of sitting still. And then there's the emotional toll, feeling like you're letting your family down if you admit you want out, or worrying they'll think you're ungrateful for the safe life they helped you find. If you're thinking about a retirement home, ask yourself, are you ready for the chance that leaving might not be an option? The financial hit, the physical decline, the emotional weight, it all piles up like a wall you didn't see coming. You might think you're just dipping your toes in, but before you know it, you're in deep. And swimming back to shore is a battle you might not win. If you're still here and this is resonating, drop a 5 in the comments to let me know, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss a thing. Wrapping it up, looking back, I don't regret growing older. That's a gift not everyone gets. But I do regret thinking a retirement home was my only option. I expected comfort, security, maybe a little peace of mind. Instead, I found a life that slowly stripped away my freedom, my purpose, my sense of self. I'm not saying all retirement homes are bad. Some folks genuinely need the care they provide. But before you take that leap, really think about what you're giving up. If I could do it over, I'd have fought like hell to stay in my own home. I'd have looked for ways to get help without handing over my independence. I'd have made sure I was moving for the right reasons, not just because it seemed like the easy way out. If you or someone you love is staring down this choice, take a deep breath and ask, is this really the best path, or just the one that looks simplest right now? Your routines, your choices, your life, they're worth holding on to with everything you've got. Thanks for sticking with me today, friends. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me one thing that stuck with you, or how you're going to use this advice. Your thoughts mean the world to me, and I read every single one. If this hit home, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support keeps me fired up to make more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.